is Morwenna and welcome to my channel. I'm currently at a beautiful nature reserve in Tulum, Mexico. And today's channeling is on the topic of happiness. How can we feel happy inside even when we feel things are not going our way? So let's hand it over to my team of light to see what we can learn about cultivating more happiness in our lives now. Welcome. The first thing that we would like to share upon the topic of happiness is that the key within this lies in the meaning that one gives happiness. It is about seeing the meaning that you have for happiness and evaluating it. We feel that many times people will place their happiness on external situations outside of themselves, and they will make themselves wait until a certain thing unfolds or happens in a certain way until they will give themselves permission to then feel the emotion of happiness. It does not mean that happiness was not there or available to them at all times, but they have put a limitation on themselves as to when it will be able or allowed to be felt or accessed, usually in response to something that is going on in their external world. For example, getting that new job, entering into that new relationship, or achieving a new goal. And it's not to say that these things aren't also important, it's just to evaluate how much of your energy, your perception around happiness, do you give the responsibility over to your external circumstances? And how much do you take responsibility for within your internal world and your emotions? Because you see, what we find is that many of our people that we connect with, often underneath some of the questions asked is really what they are asking about is how can they feel more happy? How can they feel better about themselves and about their life? And what we want to really emphasize is that it's not necessarily on waiting upon certain events to take place, but it's seeing how can you cultivate more of this emotion within yourself. If you are giving over responsibility of your happiness or a larger proportion of it to your external world and situations, this means that your happiness is going to be fluctuating a lot of the time. Essentially, what's happening in your external world, it's volatile. Sometimes things go your way and sometimes they don't. And if you are waiting to feel happy upon the results of these things, then you will be feeling like you're going and riding on an emotional roller coaster. And so what's really powerful for you to do is to take that back. Just as you cannot place your happiness or hold someone else responsible and expect them to be your source of happiness, sometimes this can happen in relationships. So one person might see the other person as their happiness or their joy or expect them to provide that for them. But in reality, it's not possible to hold someone else responsible for your own happiness, nor is it your job to be or hold responsibility for somebody else's happiness. You cannot affect, essentially, long-term, their happiness or their growth and evolution of happiness. Sure, you can influence it for passing moments, but that is also not your responsibility. It's much more healthy to cultivate your own inner happiness by, first of all, if there is something not going your way in life, it would be much better to take a step back out of that for a moment. Because you see, if you are thinking about something that's not going well for you, that you don't feel good about and you really feel unhappy about, it's really hard to come from that space as you've already in some ways emotionally and mentally boxed yourself into a certain way of thinking about it and perspective, especially if it's emotionally loaded. Then it's especially hard to try and find positive ways to think about that situation or even attract more positive thought or emotion about it. So if you are feeling unhappy with an area of your life, it's more positive for you to just take a break from that, take a step outside, so break your state about it. This means to simply stop thinking about it when you feel yourself in deep emotion about something that's not going your way. Break the state of this, go out in nature, go for a walk. This resets your emotions and your mind. Go and do something completely different. Perhaps even go and visit an area of your life that is going well and focus your attention on that to start bringing you into a more peaceful state of being. Once you have done something to shift the state from the unhappiness into being able to just come into a more balanced or peaceful or just relaxed state, not necessarily needing to see all the positives, as going from one extreme to the other is quite a leap. Just shifting little by little from the intensity of emotion that you've been feeling to a more balanced space. This is why you have heard so many times people talking about gratitude lists and doing things that help you to find things that you're grateful for in your life, as this is a quick way of starting to shift your frequency from one perspective to then focusing all of your attention onto another. So find your own method that works for you to just bring you into a more peaceful state of being. And then when you are in that peaceful state of being, then you can revisit the things that aren't feeling so good about or going your way in your life, because it's from that space that now you are open to hearing, you are open to receiving new perspectives, new ideas can flow in. If you're stuck in that emotional intensity, you have not got your doors open to hearing about new possibilities or even being able to see them, because the emotion and the perception that you already have about that thing is so dense already. And so once you have been able to come to a more calm space, then you are being able to observe your situation, and you will be able to have more clarity, insight, and ideas of how to move forwards through them. It is then also that perhaps it's a good idea to be able to communicate with somebody you know, a friend, or somebody who has also got insight on some of the things that you're wanting to know about. Because you're now going to those people on a neutral grounds, which facilitates them to be able to inspire you and you to be open and receptive to that, rather than if you were to do that in your more emotionally intense state. On a level, you would be more rejecting of those things, not necessarily consciously, but you just wouldn't be able to hear the answers and get new ideas and inspiration. And so when it comes to cultivating more happiness, it's just about bringing your awareness into your internal world and seeing how can you focus more of your attention on the things that are going well and working in your life. So this sounds a lot like gratitude. It's actually bringing your focus of awareness into areas of your life that are flowing. And what that means is when you focus more attention on that, you are creating more of that emotional movement and energy in your mind-body emotional state. You see, your mind cannot differentiate between something that has already happened and something imagined. It just gets a response to the focus that is focused upon. So if you are able to use your tool of focus, which is everything, and to focus your attention on the things that are going well for you, the things that you are grateful for, and if you really feel like you do not have anything to be grateful for, then look in your external world. Look at your surroundings, look at the animals around you, things that are neutral to you. Maybe you're grateful for your family, for support. Maybe you're grateful for having an inspiring conversation. Maybe it can be grateful for things in the past. It doesn't matter if it's the now or the past, as we mentioned. These are still going to trigger the same emotional responses within you as if it's happening right now, which starts to train your emotional system into coming more into the flow state, And what that means is that once you are in the flow state, you are more open and receptive to receiving the great ideas and inspirations that are available to you at all times. It is merely shifting a state of being from being more closed, more encompassed by noise and loudness, to shifting yourself into a space of being more receptive and open. This is where you can hear your intuition. Your intuition is linked into the intelligence of the universe always. This means that you have clarity available to you always. You just need to give yourself permission and shift your state to be able to hear it. This essentially is linked to happiness, as usually unhappiness is an outcome of things not going the way one wants. And so by shifting into this flow state, you're also opening your energy. This means that you are now able to receive that energy match. You're no longer closed or have closed doors, but you've opened them all. This means that the universe is responding to you all of the time. It's only your job to open the door to the things you want. And what this means is to also have a spring clean of your perceptions and ideas about what is possible for you. Sometimes people believe that some things are possible for them and not for others and not them. Or they have limitations on what they believe is possible for them because they just haven't seen anyone else do it or achieve it. So it's important to take note of what are some of the limiting beliefs that might be holding you back from really attaining the happiness that you want. Just by being aware of them and choosing to let them go in the moment, will start to clear the process, clear them out, and create more space for you to receive. And this is something that you can do in the moment. Now that you're aware of some of the main things that come up for you that may be limiting, you'll be able to notice these more in your daily life. And when you see them, it's not to be judgmental or feel bad about it, but it's just to state a positive affirmation of letting this go and being open to receive. So fundamentally, out of all of that we have shared, we want to ask you to give yourself permission to be happy now, before the end result that you've been waiting for, before the outcome that you've been waiting for. By cultivating this energy inside, you are shifting your emotional state, which then shifts your perspective, your outlook, and therefore also shifts the response that you get in your external world. The kinds of people you come across, the kinds of situations you find yourself in, the kinds of conversations you find yourself in, and the kinds of opportunities that open themselves up to you. We feel that this is enough for now, as that's quite a bit to digest, but we are sure that there will be more to share on this in the future. From us to you, you are so very loved, and you so deserve to be happy. And we look forward to connecting to you next time. So I hope that video resonated with you and uplifted you. If you got any insight or clarity about that, please comment below. I would love to hear from you. And if you want to get notified of new videos coming out, you can just subscribe and click the bell. Thank you. Have a beautiful day.